All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Anything podcast with your host, Matthew Sonic Mix. I am Matthew Sonic Mix, and for tonight's topics, this is a very football sports heavy topic. We're going to be giving our review of Super Bowl 54 from this past Sunday, February 2nd. We're going to be talking about an interesting topic are some games when it comes to sports, football, baseball, etc., rigged? Because everybody loves to say, "Oh, this game was rigged" or "that game was rigged." First impressions of the XFL, which happened tonight, and then in the main event topic, we're gonna give a little bit of an update with school. How's college been going with me so far? Without further ado, I want to welcome the co-host, the Robin to the Batman. He is Tony Trinity. Tony, my good friend, how are we doing today?
Doing very good.
You know,
How about
I feel like
yourself?
it's been kind of a while since we've done a show. Although I think the last show we did was the Royal Rumble, actually, as a matter of fact.
So not that much of a while. You
No,
numbnuts.
no. Although we did do
It's
like,
been about a week a day.
although
You
we did do,
jackass.
yeah, I know. Although we did do like, actually it was like two shows in 3 days because we did the prediction show. And then we did the Royal Rumble review along with the death of Kobe Bryant and then the NXT. So that was like two and
Now,
3 days.
now, now. Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Yep.
Uh, which one would you rather do? Frequent podcasts of these sorts, like doing 3 or 4 a week, or would you rather save one for like a week or two or whatever, and then get more topics involved?
I mean, do like once a week and get more topics involved, obviously.
Then what you bitching about?
I don't know, man. I don't
You
know, my good
you
buddy.
bitching like a typical woman. You said we could. You said we could talk about anything, so that's the topic that we're talking about.
Yep.
You bitch like a little
Oh
woman.
boy.
Might as well
Oh
just call you Unstoppable and I'm the Kim Possible.
yes.
So basically, I'm the Batman and you're the Robin.
Yep.
Jackass.
The roles have been reversed. Now I became the Robin.
Damn straight, Skippy.
Oh, jeez. Well, let's jump into the Super Bowl review here. So, as I said before, Super Bowl was from this past Sunday, February 2nd. It was the San Francisco 49ers against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs had beaten the San Francisco 49ers 31-20 and achieving only their second Super Bowl championship in 50 years, to be exact, right on the number. What did you thought about this past Super Bowl?
Bullshit at the end. Bullshit at the end, I swear.
Now, if I remember right, because I had texted you right before the game had started, and you said that the 49ers were going to win.
And so did you.
Right. Now, I predicted a score of I think I predicted it was like 28-18 or something like that. And I was close, but not for the Chiefs. I thought the 49ers would sort of dominate over the Chiefs, but no,
I
it was
mean,
the
with
other
the
way
record,
around.
with the record that the 49ers had, I mean, there was somewhat of an obvious choice to pick that team, but evidently the Chiefs pulled a rabbit out of their hats.
And on and all, I actually thought this game was very enjoyable. I didn't find it to be a bore. I thought both of the offense and the defense on both teams actually did a pretty good performance. I thought Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback of the 49ers, I thought he did pretty good. I thought Mahomes was pretty good as well. So it was in my opinion, I thought it was an even Steven sort of match up until the fourth quarter where it just fell apart for the 49ers.
I mean, you're not wrong. Well, I I saw only half of the game or 3/4 of the game kind of deal. Let's just say I forgot what channel was on. Sorry, guys, for whoever's watching the Super Bowl this year. And there were a lot of things going on that weekend, and it was my birthday. So, granted, it was pretty much food, a little cake on my birthday. Then the Super Bowl happened, so that's why I was a little late on watching it.
Well, before we continue on, let me say happy birthday to you.
Well, not belated.
Happy belated birthday. We are what, 32 or 33?
Don't make me older than I already am. In other words, I'm 32.
Yeah, 32. All right. Well, I mean, you're still young. I mean, I'll be hitting 30 in August.
Congratulations for you.
Yeah,
Welcome to the 30
thank
club.
You. But
welcome to the 30 club.
Yep, yeah, welcome to the 30 club. Or it's like the meme picture where you have the guy with that ridiculous face and there's like a tornado behind him, and then the tornado says 30 and then the description says 30s, here it comes.
Well, let's just say if it happens in the 50s with that same meme, guess what? It's an F5 waiting to happen.
Yep. It'll be an F5 picture with that.
And then with like a little demon in the background saying, "Here comes the pain."
Yeah, here comes the pain indeed. But yeah, so let's just so let's do a little breakdown here. So the first quarter, nothing too much had happened. Once again, both offense and defense were really good. Very even Steven. 49ers would score the first points going 3-0. Then the Chiefs would score a touchdown. End of the first quarter ended with 3-7. And then in the second quarter, the 49ers would answer with a touchdown. The Chiefs would then answer with a field goal, which brings halftime to a score of 10-10. So right off the gate, pretty interesting game, pretty even Steven. Now, did you see the halftime performance?
I think half of it.
Half of it? Okay. Well, I saw the full thing. And I know people may have different opinions on it. I wasn't too enthusiastic about it. I thought it was kind of but I said this on social media, and I said I this is what my exact words. I said I was not really crazy for that halftime performance, but anything is better than Maroon 5. Now, I did not see Maroon 5, to be fair, because last year me and my buddy watched the NXT halftime heat that year. So that was our Super Bowl halftime show, and we didn't see Maroon 5. But a lot of people said that Maroon 5 and whoever was the other guy, it sucked. Like, it didn't go well. It didn't seem to sync. It didn't seem to click. And then, Maroon 5, he takes his shirt off and the girls are going wild. It was like, come on, dude, really? Like I said, I didn't see it, but it was probably a fortunate thing that I didn't see it.
So, in other words, a puke city, if you will.
Pretty much. But you know what? I gotta say something. Like with someone like Jennifer Lopez and even Shakira. Shakira is 42. I think 42 or 43. And Jennifer Lopez is 50. And I gotta say something. Damn, dude, they look good for their age. Like, if I would have seen them for the first time, I would have thought Shakira was like in her late 20s and Lopez was in her mid 30s. Like, holy crap.
Well, granted, they will took that as a compliment and give you a hug.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. But no, I mean, I thought they looked great. Both Shakira and Jennifer Lopez. But like I said, the halftime performance, I just didn't really care.
To be perfectly honest, my girl was watching that halftime or whatever was that.
Right.
She said that Shakira did a lot better than J-Lo. No offense to you, J-Lo, out there.
Wow, geez, Tony already firing the cylinders here.
let's just say we have pipes here and we have pipes there. Which pipe's bigger?
Yeah, or there's the pipe bomb, Mr. CM Punk.
Well, let's just say I have a lot of CM Punk movies, but I digress.
Right. So halftime performance is over. We get back to the game. 49ers score a touchdown and then a field goal later on. So the game is now 20-10. And somewhere in the fourth quarter, I think it was like at the 8-minute mark or the 7-minute mark, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs get the ball, throws for an interception. Now, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's about almost 6 minutes left of the game. If the 49ers, if if they keep control, and if they score at least one more touchdown, that should be the game ender right there. And the 49ers, they go four downs. They have to kick for a punt. Mahomes and the Chiefs, they rally back, score a touchdown, 20-17. 49ers, they can't do much. Chiefs get the ball back. Now we are 24-20. 49ers, we get down to the 2-minute mark. And, this is kind of where things start getting really interesting because you're like, okay, it's 2 minutes left. 49ers, they could definitely do something here. And the Chiefs stopped them dead in their tracks. And just to add more insult to injury, when the Chiefs get the ball back, it wasn't the first play, it was actually the second play. But Mahomes, he hands it off to his guy. Guy just runs it all the way to the touchdown. Insult to injury. And the Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in 50 years, to be exact, with a score of 31-20.
And that call where they're trying to reverse the call where
yes,
where the 2 feet were before the touchdown area.
Yes.
So and then the football ended up being at the touchdown.
Yes.
Area.
Yeah. So
what the fuck is that now?
Yeah. So that play, I mean, it was a hard angle to see because it did look like he was short, but maybe from an angle.
He was short by millimeters.
Unless.
He was like on a freaking ice rink, and then he was like sliding into what is it?
The pylon?
Out of bounds. With the out of bounds section.
I mean, all the ball has to do is touch the pylon. If it touches it, then it's a touchdown. So maybe the ball, like I said, it was a hard angle to see. So maybe the ball had just touched it just before he went out. But like I said, it's a hard call. I guess there was no other angles.
What happened back in the good old days in football where your both feet have to touch the touchdown area?
I don't think it wasn't like that. I think the rule has always been as long as the ball hits the touchdown, it counts. Like your whole body could not even be in the end zone, but if the ball's in the end zone, it counts as a touchdown. As long as the knees don't hit first.
But neither his knees or his feet ended up in the touchdown. It ended up being out of bounds. Just the ball has to go in the fucking touchdown area and it counts as a touchdown. What the fuck kind of rule is that?
I mean, I think that's always been the rule. I mean, somebody could correct me on it if I'm wrong, but I think the rule has always been it doesn't have to be. I mean, yes, both feet have to be in the red zone if you're jumping up to get the ball, but all the ball has to do is cross the line, and that's it.
Actually, his foot touched the line going out of bounds before the football even went past.
Right. I know. But like I said, there was a bad angle, so he could have gotten over. But I mean, we don't know now. I mean, it's in the record books as being a touchdown. So whether it was or it wasn't, it's a touchdown.
Bullshit call.
But there was another controversial play. I think you know this one. I think this was either just before the 2-minute warning or after the 2-minute warning. I don't remember. But the 49ers get the ball. Time's running out. And the game clock or the snap clock or whatever it's called, it goes to 0. and it stays at 0 for like a good second, and the 49ers hike the ball, and they don't get flagged for a delay of game. So actually, maybe if the referees would have paid attention and had thrown in the flag for delay of game, there could have maybe a chance for the 49ers to win. I mean, we won't know now. Now it's only a theory, but there could have been a chance. But like I said, shenanigans and shit happens, and this is the results you get.
Question: how many Super Bowls have the 49ers ever won?
5.
So if they would have won this one, then would have they tied with Steelers and
the Patriots? Yep.
Now that would have been an interesting Super Bowl at the next year's Super Bowl.
And think about this: if the 49ers would have had one, you would have 3 teams all with the number 6.
That would have been fucked up.
Yeah, that's a little scary right there, nonetheless. But congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on obtaining Super Bowl championship number 2 after 50 years, and maybe it will take another 50 years for the Chiefs to win another one.
I think now they're tied with the Bears.
No, the Bears have only won 1.
Are you sure?
Yes. Of all Super Bowls, the Bears have only won 1.
Then how about the Packers?
The Packers have won 4.
Fucking me sideways. Who am I confusing with 2 Super Bowls?
That I do not know. I think the Raiders have won at least 3.
Well, now we're in kind of who's got what,
Right, exactly. So I'll say this much about the Super Bowl as a whole. I thought this was better than last year's. It was not a bore. And I don't know, I give this Super Bowl a 7.5 out of 10.
From what I've watched, I would give it a 7 out of 5. I mean, not 7 out of 10, there we go.
So let's jump into the next one here. Now, this is kind of an interesting topic here because everybody loves to say, oh, this game was rigged. That game was rigged. And we're going to get into the topic of, are most sports games rigged? And before we do get into that topic, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. I want to say thank you so much for listening in. And please do hit that subscribe and that notification button so that way you can be informed on the next episode. So let's talk about rigs and games and sports and whatnot. Are you one of those theory people that thinks, when you look at a game, you say to yourself, that game looks pretty rigged? Like, what's your opinion or your thought process when it comes to sports potentially maybe being a rigged game or a fixed game?
Well, granted, back in the day, baseball, football, hockey, basketball, no matter what, it used to have the feel of the UFC where it was real.
Right.
But nowadays, when we look at sports, now it's turning to like the WWE, AEW, CZW, ROH, let's see, TNA, and all the other wrestling promotions. It seems like more sports are drifting away from the reality and the realness and turning into a fake, rigged situation. Like it's potentially turning to a big storyline kind of deal. Have you ever felt like that?
There has been many occasions that I have felt like that. And when I watch like a football game or a hockey game or a baseball game, I do feel like in a way they do tell a story about the game or what's happening in the game itself, and you're always interested in the outcome. Now, me personally, do I think games are rigged? I mean, I'm no detective, I'm no agent or anything like that. Um, I mean, we've had incidents like in baseball. I mean nothing like paying off players or that sort of thing. Although, you go back to, I think it was the one World Series many years ago when shoeless Joe Jackson was on the White Sox. The whole Black Sox curse where the White
Uh-huh.
Sox had thrown, I think it was the World Series. They threw the game away because somebody paid them to lose, and there was 6 or 7 players suspended, including shoeless Joe Jackson, even though legend has it he was never involved in it,
Uh-huh.
which I mean, we won't know if that's true or not because we were not around when that happened. That's just a legend. Then you have Pete Rose when he used to bet against his own team and whatnot. So I do think,
Is that guy still around?
yeah, Pete Rose. Oh yeah, he's still around.
God bless him for sticking around after the power driver by Kane.
Um, but no, like I can remember people letting out an outcry. This was during the FIFA World Cup for the men's. This was not this past one, but it was the one before. Brazil was like beating everyone in dominant fashion. It was like 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, just dominant fashion. And a lot of people said, "Oh, Brazil's gonna win." And then when Germany beat them. I think it was like 8-2 or something like that. Everybody was like, "Oh, the game was rigged. The game was rigged. The game was rigged. The government paid Brazil to purposely lose. Oh, the game was rigged." And I don't know about the government paying them off to lose. I don't know about that ordeal now. But I mean, did somebody pay them to lose? I mean, it could be possible. I don't know. Like I said, I'm no FBI agent or anything, but I mean, I'm no Bruce Wayne trying to go detective mode here, trying to figure this crap out here. Now, here's what I will say, that maybe there might have been some, money thrown in, and it's a very infamous Super Bowl because of the overtime. And I have to go back to Super Bowl 51 at halftime when the Falcons were leading 28-3 over the Patriots of all teams. It's 28-3. You're looking at this game, you're going, "Oh my God, like the Falcons are going to win. They're just going to be spanking the Patriots left and right like nobody's business." And it wasn't until Brady started throwing all these passes, all these completions, going for the 2-point conversions. All of a sudden, what was 28-3 all of a sudden became 28-28. Game ends in a tie. We go into overtime. First ever overtime in Super Bowl history. And the Patriots make a comeback to win that year's Super Bowl 51, to win 34-28, to achieve at the time what was their 5th Super Bowl reign. And a lot of people said that game had to been fixed. There had to been a fix. And to tell the truth, I was one of those people that thought something is just off here because there's no way it just didn't seem impossible to blow a 28-3 lead like that. And
And
that's where, and if I could just, if I don't mean to cut you off, let me just say this really quick. You said before, like, there was a reality factor. Now it kind of feels like your WWE, AEW, NXT, ROH type of scenario here, where now all of a sudden they're telling a story. All of a sudden now the fix is in, and now the Patriots made this comeback and they won. Now it's a story that can be talked about. I think even to this day, I mean, hell, we're talking about it right now. There are still people that talk about that Super Bowl. Like like
and
like
just
how we are
like
right now, we're talking about right now.
3 years ago, before the Patriots won against the Falcons, Am I correct in saying that?
Uh,
If that
wait, wait,
for
wait, wait,
for
wait,
last
wait.
year,
Which Super Bowl are we talking about?
51.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they beat the Falcons,
So who won?
the Patriots,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So about 3 years before that, wasn't it the on a different team,
Seahawks.
on a different sport?
Yeah,
How about the World Series of 2016, where it was the Cubs versus the Indians? Wasn't that a telling story?
yeah, it was. Now, let me ask you this question. You're a Cubs fan, but let me ask you: are you one of those people that thinks, "Oh, the game was fixed in a way, or it was rigged in a way"?
I think no matter who would have won, because they're both the longest reigning droughts in MLB history, correct?
Right.
And the Indians are still continuing on with that uh, drought currently as we speak right now. So it was the longest reigning, let's see, National League team drought versus the longest reigning American League team drought. I think no matter who would have won, they would have said that it was a fixed game, no matter who would have won. Now the fans of the Indians, the Cleveland Indians, are saying that that game was rigged. But if you live in Chicago, that game was fine. Kind of deal, attitude. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Like, yeah, if if the roles had reversed and it was the Indians winning, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know about you personally, but I'm sure a lot of Chicago Cubs fans would have said, "Oh, that game was rigged. That game was fixed." And blah 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 blah. Now, of course, remember the Cubs were leading before the ninth. So if Cleveland would have gotten a rally going and won, oh yeah, they could have been like, oh yeah, they would have said either, "Oh yeah, it's typical Cubs, they lost," or "Oh yeah, the game is rigged. Oh, the game is fixed," and all that shenanigans.
Correct.
Um, but no, I mean,
But you did get my point.
I no no no, I do get your point indeed. But you know what? I think honestly, like it's funny in a way. I know I had spoke to you about this a number of months ago before we started doing this show here, or I had the thought of the idea of wanting to do the podcast again. But uh, this past baseball season, last year's baseball season, I did not watch one single game. And what's funny is that I wanted to watch game 7 of the World Series, but what happened was I couldn't find the channel because I guess originally there was an overlap and whatever show was supposed to be on, it was overlapping the World Series. So I couldn't find it. So I had to hear about it the next day, and I was kind of like, well, okay. But yeah, no, like I did not watch one single baseball game last year, which is very odd and rare for me to do that because I usually watch at least one game or at least a playoff game. But this year or last year was the first year ever I did not watch one single game.
That sucks.
And I know we were kind of on the topic about rigs and fixes and whatnot, but uh, I guess I'll say this: I feel like I've kind of come to the point in my life where I don't know if it's just a matter of I don't have time to watch sports as much as I used to. Like back in the mid 2000s, I was very big into basketball, and I used to watch it almost all the time. This season, I've not watched one basketball game. Although I may watch the All Star game because I think they're going to do a tribute for Kobe Bryant. On it's either the I think it's like the actual All Star game itself. So I might actually just watch that and see what they do with that and whatnot. But yeah, so far I have not watched one basketball game. Now I may watch a playoff game, but we'll see. We'll see if I've got the time to even watch it.
Right?
Um, but yeah, I feel like I've kind of come to the point to where like, if I watch like a baseball game, I kind of just watch it for the enjoyment. And then I kind of say to myself, was it fixed or was it real? It's just that sort of thing. Um,
Well, you do get my point though with that.
I know, no, I do get your point. Now, I think like now soccer actually, or football, if you're living in England or Germany or somewhere in Europe, uh,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
the European football, not the U.S. football.
right now with soccer slash football, uh, strangely enough, but I think it's a good thing in a way. I have actually been watching soccer. I watched mostly of all the FIFA World Cup games from a couple years back or 3 years back, and I watched most of the women's soccer. Uh, and then you know what? A lot of people say soccer is a boring sport. A lot of people have said that, but when you really think about it, it may look boring, but think about all that running, all that endurance, all that stamina, running back up and down the field and all around. I mean, it has to be tiring, and I can't imagine, what their legs are gonna be, when they get up in age.
I mean, right now they're probably rock hard solid.
Oh, I bet they are. I bet they're harder as diamonds practically.
I wish I could say something, but I don't know what the viewership is going to think about this. As hard as a penis, if you will.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. This is now turned into a sex ed class, ladies and gentlemen.
But you get the point, though.
I do get the point. Oh, great. Now we're gonna have to do life lessons, sex ed classes and whatnot. Boy, do I remember those days? Do I remember
I
those
had to,
days in high
I think
school?
I think I had to take two of them in grade school. One was in fifth grade. One was in sixth grade. Because the fifth grade one was when I was in Niles, and then when I moved to Chicago, then it was sixth grade because I guess they're 1 year apart kind of deal of the educational background.
Hmm.
And then I ended up having to take one in high school. I believe that was in my sophomore year, where it was like health or whatever. I'm like, oh
And, and
shit.
and and then the whole Miracle of Life. Did you ever watch that?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so because the first two uh, times that I did it, we're just talking about it. We didn't have any videos on that shit. Uh, Sophomore year, went to an all boys school. Guess what? They didn't care about that shit either. So I guess it was a win-win situation for me.
Oh, jeez. And how the hell did we get? Oh yeah, that's right. With your comment, then we get into sex ed. Wow, jeez. Well, welcome to the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I mean, there you go. There's a good example of it, I guess.
Or harder nipples, if you will.
Oh my god. Oh god. Yeah, this podcast is now turned into a sex ed
Rated R
course.
Superstar
Yeah,
Show.
yeah, Radar R Superstars show. Oh geez. Well, let's move out of the rig and the fix system and let's talk about the XFL, the return of the XFL. I don't know if you watched it tonight. I did. I watched the very first game or the comeback game. It was the LA Wildcats against the Houston. God, what the hell was their name again? It was kind of a ridiculous name. Hang on, I have it in my notes here. It was the Houston uh Roughnecks. Yeah, that's what it was. The Houston Roughnecks. God, I don't know about that name.
Can I
The,
say one thing?
what's that?
Fuck you, Vince. Fuck you, Vince, for having this XFL bullshit back in.
I mean, Houston Roughnecks. I don't know about that name. I mean, I was, when I was
I'm not
thinking,
digging it. I'm not digging it.
no, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, okay, Texas. Why not like the Houston Mustangs, horses, horses down in Texas. Why not like the Houston Mustangs or the Houston Clydesdales or the Houston Stallions? Like, why not name a team based off of a horse?
I'll talk to Vincent McMahon about that shit.
Yeah, I know. So I watched the whole game itself. I thought it was enjoyable. It felt like watching a regular NFL game, except in a smaller venue. It was at a college football stadium, from what it looked like. Not sold out. The very top section was very uh no people in the very top section, but it looked pretty packed for the most part in the second tier and in the bottom tier.
So kind of XFL is AEW at best, and NFL is like Raw and SmackDown at best.
Pretty much. Now it is different in a way of rules wise. So I'm gonna kind of break it down to you like this. So during kickoff, and I'm gonna do the side by side comparison here. So in the NFL, when there's a kickoff, as soon as the kicker kicks the ball, the defense is off to the races to try to get to the receiver, and then on the other end, guy catches the ball and he can either take a knee or try to run to try to get some yards. In the XFL, it's different. So what happens is the kicker kicks the ball and nobody moves except the receiver. Once the receiver catches the ball, then the defense starts charging. Then the people on the other team try to stop the defense from trying to get to the receiver. So when flags happen and they have to do a score review or just a review in general, it's pretty quick. Sometimes in most cases it may take say 3 to 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes at best, because they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. This case, it's literally 2 minutes. Speaking of 2 minutes, there besides 3 timeouts, there are 2 timeouts. So they have to be very frequent on how they want to spend their timeouts. As usual, there's 4 downs, 10 yards each, or there's 4 downs, and each you have to get at least 10 yards to get a first down. When you score a touchdown, it's worth 6 points. And there's 3 options you can do. You can either do 1 point, which would get you to the 2-yard line, 2 points at the 5-yard line, and if you want to go for 3 points, it's on the 10-yard line. Which I actually like that in a way, because it does makes the games. It could make the games a little bit more interesting. And I'm actually surprised that the NFL did not come up with a rule like that.
Don't they have only 2 options? It's either the field goal or
2-point conversion. Yeah. So in the NFL, you can either take the extra point or 2-point conversion. In the XFL, and let me clarify this. So when you score a touchdown, there is no field goal. So it's an actual quarterback has to throw the ball to his receiver. So if you go for 1 point, it's on the 2-yard line. 2 points is on the 5-yard line. 3 points is on the 10-yard line.
Or why can't they do something like this, where the quarterback just rushes in?
Well,
Can that be an option?
I mean, if you want to do a quarterback sneak, he could.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that they've done a sneak method like that.
Right, exactly.
Instead of getting a sack or a incomplete or whatnot, they could actually sneak their way in, kind of deal, being stealthily, like a ninja.
Right, exactly. Now this is what was happening during every touchdown, or if there was a magnificent play of some kind. After a touchdown, the interviewer would interview the person that scored the touchdown or made a miraculous play for like 30 seconds. There was points where the commentators would talk with the coach, and you would hear the coach's voice. And what I found really interesting was that when they had to go under review because there was a questionable call or something like that, there was a camera shot. They had actually cut to this guy who is the replay guy. So he's sending the information, he's feeding the information to the referee. And the guy's saying, like, yeah, there was no helmet to helmet collision, so the guy was down by contact. It was a legal move, it was a legal play. Or yeah, this guy he had both of his feet on the red zone. He had possession of the ball. So there was a camera shot to that replay guy, which I actually found to be interesting. And it was him and a girl in the background. The girl didn't say anything, so I have no idea what's the position of the girl in the background. But what I found funny was, so they cut to the replay guy. And the replay guy, he's talking to the referee, he's talking to the ref, and he says something, and all of a sudden he lifts his hand up, and I kid you not, you could see an Xbox One controller. I kid you not.
Was it an Xbox One or a PlayStation?
No, it was an Xbox One. It was a legit Xbox One controller.
Are they trying to promote something here?
They must be. If I watch the episode again, and I think it was in the fourth quarter. I think I would have to try to find it again. But if I go back and watch it again, I'll send you a picture of it. But yeah, when I saw that, it was like one of those Easter eggs that I just looked at it and went, well, that's interesting. What is he using the Xbox controller for? I guess it was something with like the computer or something like that, or maybe something that was with a touch screen or something like that. I don't know. It was really weird. But overall,
are you sure it's not a controller for the PC?
well, I think that's what it was probably for the PC, or maybe he had synced it in with the PC or something like that. But I just thought it was really funny that he had an Xbox controller in his hand. And I was like, damn, what's he doing? What's he playing on the job or something like that? Jeez.
I mean, you can be playing football while you're watching football kind of deal, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. Now the game itself, like it the Roughnecks kind of ran away with the game. The final score was 37-17, and I got to say there was a lot of plays that was very bad in terms of, like, they were throwing to like what looked like no one on the field. There was a lot of sloppy plays, and there was quite a few interesting ones as well. Few interesting ones as well. I got tongue tied there with like
speaking, boy, speak.
yeah, like there was one play where the quarterback had thrown the ball, and it deflected off of one of the defender's hands and ended up in one of the receiver's hands, which I thought that was kind of wild. There was another one where the quarterback had thrown the ball while somebody on the defense had got to him. So quarterback throws the ball, it bounces off someone, and as it's up in the air and coming down, there's some guy on the defense laying on his back, and the ball just goes right onto him. It was like one of those right time, right places moments. And there was a few good catches that I looked at and went, wow, that was actually a pretty damn good catch. But a lot of sloppy plays. Now, I get this. I get for most of those guys, this is probably like their first time, on TV in front of a big crowd. I'm sure probably most of them were nervous, excited but nervous, and I'll give them a break, even though there was a lot of sloppiness. It's only the first game back. It's the first comeback game. We'll see how the rest of these games go. Now, from what I understand, there is only 10 weeks. So I'm guessing this season will end probably somewhere in May, probably the middle of May or the end of May, if we're looking at it that way. So I enjoyed it. I probably will watch the next couple games, and we'll see. We'll see if it keeps my interest after the next couple weeks or so.
Do you enjoy it when you do watch it? Maybe they may explain things a little bit better as time progresses.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure they will tweak some rules as well, maybe add a few as well. But I will say this, it did felt different. It didn't feel like a I mean yes, it is a knockoff NFL, but the rules in a way are for the most part different than what the NFL has. Like for instance, like the NFL has 3 timeouts, the XFL have 2 timeouts. In the NFL, there's extra point, 2 point conversion. In the XFL, there's 1, 2, and 3 points. So they are trying to be different, which I can appreciate that. I can.
So for college football, how are their rulings go?
I think they are mostly the same as the NFL. I don't watch a lot of college football, to be honest with you.
I think you should watch it at least one, just to do like a comparison between NFL, XFL, and college.
I
See
can tell
how
you
they're
this much. I
different.
can I can tell you this much. You know, when you watch a college football game, you know, we were talking about fix and rig. You know, those guys, those young adults, they go out there and they put their hard-earned hearts out there to try to win the game. And
So
I have
basically,
watched a few college games to where when I walked out of that college game, I said, "Wow, that was a pretty damn good game."
so it's kind of like back in the day UFC, even though UFC is now drifting away from the realness, and now it's turned into a rigged system, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot. I've heard a lot of people say it that way as well.
Considering that they're in Vegas, what's the main thing that happens in Vegas?
Gamble.
And let's just say you're gambling a guy winnings or losing, and then there you go. Whoever gets the most in gambling wins it all or loses it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of like these games have been recently.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you on that. And let's jump to our main event of the topic, an update with college and school. In case if you're wondering how's everything going, and for the people listening, how's everything going with me with college? And I can tell you this much actually. I have been enjoying school so far.
Good,
You know,
good.
I know I think I said this um when I had when I gave my little review of my first day back after 6 years. I had said that it felt like a comeback feel good moment, and I have really have been enjoying school a lot. I did not think I was going to enjoy it this much. Now, granted, yes. Now, for those that
Especially mathematics.
you know what's funny, actually, I will tell you this much, and it's really funny. Now, I think I said this on one of the episodes, but I'll say it again. I'll mention on here. I'm not a fan of math. Math was pretty much my kryptonite. I was very strong with English. I was very strong with writing. Math, I always had a hard time with. And even though, yes, some of the math problems can be a bit frustrating at times, what's funny is that I've actually been enjoying those frustrations in a funny way. And what I mean by
Good.
that is, it's like, yeah, I'm frustrated because it's like, ugh, what is the answer to this stupid question here? And then I hit the notebook and I'm trying to figure it out. And then once I figure it out, I'm like, oh my God, now it's coming back to me. And I basically get the remainder of the questions all right. And I'm like, now I remember how this works.
Told you, math is a very patient class. If you're patient, you'll get it. If you're not patient, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, no,
As
no,
opposed,
that's the
uh,
thing. I'm sorry, go
as
ahead.
opposed to as opposed to English, there's no patience to it at all. It's either you get it or you don't, kind of deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, math is not a rush type of environment. I mean, yes, if you know the answer right out of the gate, then yeah, you can fly through it no problem. But if you don't know what it is, yeah, you're going to have to be patient. You may have to take out about 5-10 minutes just to try to figure out, okay, how do we get to this problem? Now, on the program, when you get an answer wrong, you can review it and it will tell you like how to get to this answer. And what I will do is I'll look at it, take out my notebook and go, okay, let's figure this out here. Let's see how we get to this and that. And I usually take notes on the problems that I know I'm going to have a hard time with. So I'll jog down a few notes and be like, okay, this is how I do it. So now if I come across a question like this, I know what to do for next time. And then for the ones that I know how to do it, there's no need to take a note, but I still take a note of it anyway. So that way I could be like, okay, I know how to do this.
So it's just like a kind of like a refresher.
Pretty much, yes. And I've jogged down a lot of notes, like the fractions, the decimals, the percentages, the numerators, the LCD, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
The crisscrossing, um, the whole uh keep, change, and flip. Like if it's like 5-8 divided by 2-4, the divide becomes a times, and then the 2-4 you flip it to make it 4-2, and you either times it across or you crisscross to times. But then you may have to simplify it, so you have to go low and low. So if it's like 1224, well, you could do 12 divided by 2, 24 divided by 2, but if you can keep simplifying it, you can keep simplifying it until you go as low as you can.
That's true.
I'm already talking like a math teacher. Good Lord.
See,
But
I told you could do this.
yeah, no. And actually, another update. So, if I'm understanding this right, now, as I said this to you when we did our show about my comeback, this is technically a 3-in-1 class. So if you are able to finish 045 early, you can jump into 055. And if you get done with 055 early, you can potentially go into 085 and complete it. So it's a 3-in-1 semester type class.
But do you think you're going to do it?
Well, this is the point that I was going to make here. So, as of right now, I legitimately have 15 more topics left to do until I finish 045. So, if I'm understanding this right, once I finish the 15 topics, I will then go into the final. And if I complete the final and pass with a 70% or better, then I can jump into 055.
And then you repeat the process over again until when you reach to 085, if I'm understanding that
Right.
correctly.
So when I go into 055 and I pass that, then I can go into 085.
And then after 085, then what class are you going to take?
Then I'm pretty much done. So the highest I can go is 085. So if I'm able to get into 085 and I'm able to complete it, then I could be set to go into 101.
Or 110
Or
actually.
is it 110?
I think so.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Which is college
101.
algebra.
I think 101 is English and 110 is math. So I don't know why they did that, but they did. Don't ask.
Okay. So yeah, it would be 110, which is college algebra. And I mean, I don't think I'm not gonna jump right into it. I know it's a requirement if I do want to complete college, but
I think after all said and done, I think you should at least to get it done and over with and out of the way, so you don't have to worry about it ever again.
right, exactly. But a couple funny stories that happened within the last week or two actually. So I got to school about an hour early. And if I get there an hour early, I immediately jump right into the to the work. So I'm doing the work, and one of the students comes in, and I know her very well. So we get talking, and one of the tutors had came by to help her out, and I sort of was blended into this conversation. So the tutor, she talks about this story that had happened. And I don't know if it was a year or two ago, maybe it might have been a little bit longer, but she tells the story. There was this woman that took this math class some years back, but what happened was, I don't know how they found out. I don't know if she confessed or what, but I guess her husband was doing all of the math homework for her. So the husband's doing all the math work for this girl, and when it came down to the final, she had to take the final in the class, even though the class is to some degree an online class per se. You
One of those deals, huh?
Yes, even though the class is kind of somewhat an online class, you still have to show up for the lectures. You still have to participate to class. So when it came down to the final, the teacher at the time said, "Oh no, 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 what are you doing? You're supposed to take the final here." And the woman said, "Well, wait a second. I've been doing this at home. Can I just do the final at home?" And the teacher said, "No, I'm afraid you got to take the final here." I don't know if it's because there's a code that they have to give to you. I don't know what the whole ordeal is, but yeah, the woman could not take the final home with her. She actually had to do the final at the school, and she ended up failing.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. So once again, I don't know how they knew, or how she knew, or how somebody knew that the wife had given the homework to the husband. Maybe they just assumed that's what happened, or maybe she did confess. I don't know. I mean, if she confessed, you know what? I give her all the credit in the world for telling the truth, but still, it's like, oh my god, can you imagine that? Like, it's one thing to like if somebody does it for you, at least look at it and understand how it works and how it goes to that answer. But if you just don't know anything about it, oh yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah, you are very screwed in a lot of ways.
I mean, good lord. Like I said, the math class I'm in now, yes, theoretically it is an online class ish, but I still have to show up for the lectures. I still have to participate with the programs, with the program and whatnot. So yeah, um, it sucks to be her, I guess. And then the second story, actually, this was kind of it was funny in a way, but it was kind of like one of those look at you with like a deer in the headlights type of ordeal. So there's this girl, and obviously I'm not going to mention names here. But for the sake of this conversation, we're gonna call this girl A, like A as an apple. So I was talking to this girl named A, and we got talking and this and that, and came time for lecture, and then math homework and whatnot. And I had already put it in my 7 hours plus my 20 topics. So everything I was doing was just extra work, which the extra work for me helped me a lot to get to the 15 topics I'm at now. So come this week, I'll hit 15 easily and my 7 hours easily. But I get to the 7 hour point because this is important here. So on the program, the rule is you're supposed to get at least 7 hours and at least 20 topics, which, I mean, if you're me, you get 20 topics done within an hour and a half, literally. Everything else I do after that is all extra work. Everything is extra. So what happened was, so A, the girl, we were talking before class, and she was saying that, she had synced in 7 hours. And I said, yeah, I synced in my 7 hours, and I actually just completed my 7 hours just literally a few minutes before you had arrived. So I was all caught up with everything. She's all caught up with everything. Well, at the end of class, the teacher makes this announcement, and the teacher she says something to the lines of, class, I just want to inform you all that it is very important that you hit your 7 hours and that you hit your 20 topics, because only one person got 7 hours in this class. Only one. I would like to see all of you guys, if not most of you guys, hit that 7 hour mark. When she said one, now I didn't think of this at first, but when she said one, uh, I go, that's me. I know she's talking about me. Wait, I'm the only one that hit 7 hours. So I looked at one of the girls sitting next to me. We're starting to know each other very well as well. I looked at her and she's looking at me, and I kind of point the finger at myself and I go, I think she's talking about me. And she smiled and she was like, yeah, it has to be you. But then A, she rolls her chair up to me and she goes, wait a second, there has to be a misunderstanding. I hit 7 hours. And I looked at her and I said, wait, you're right. You just told me you hit 7 hours. So I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, and she goes, how is this possible? And I looked at her and I go, I don't know what to tell you. Unless there was some funny glitch that happened, and maybe for some reason it read that you did not hit 7 hours. Like, I literally did not know what to tell her. I was clueless. I didn't know what to say. So she goes right to the teacher, and I'm sure I wasn't standing next to her when this happened. So she's by the teacher. I'm still by my table, and I guess she was explaining to the teacher that she had hit the 7 hours. Is there any way that you could look this up really quick? So the teacher had looked it up, and to the fault of the teacher, it was actually the teacher's fault. But the teacher had corrected herself and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry about that. Yes, there was actually two, not one, two." So the teacher comes over to me after she said, "Yeah, there was two people in this class that hit the 7 hours. You, Matt, and you, A." So me and A, the girl, we were the only two in the entire class that hit our 7 hours and hit the 20 plus topics.
Sounds like Valentine's Day is happening with the two of you.
Oh, jeez. Well,
It's coming up.
oh, jeez. Well, no, that actually says a lot, actually, because actually, I don't want to get, I don't want to be too personal here. I'll tell you more about it after we wrap up this show. But all I'm gonna say is that when we got talking, she said that she was determined. She was very motivated to get the degree that she wanted to get in, to graduate and whatnot. And I can see that determination, just like me, actually. I'm determined, to finish this math course, to get into broadcasting. Like, I'm hungry. I'm on fire to achieve that goal. And if only me and her were able to do the 7 hours and the 20 plus topics, or maybe the people did do the 20 topics, but not the 7 hours. But for me and her to do the 7 hours, that says a lot. I think that reads determination and motivation.
Uh, so is it 7 hours per week?
It's 7 hours per week.
So an hour each day.
Or if you're me, you do 2 hours one day, 2 hours during the lecture and whatnot, 2 hours the next day, and then you just shoot the hour off on a Wednesday. Like, actually, for the Super Bowl, actually, what I did was I put in 2.5 hours in on Sunday, just so that I could put them in, and that way I can enjoy watching the Super Bowl. Then I put in about 2 hours Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday after work, and then I had noticed that I only had like an hour left. And I said, you know what? I'll finish this on Wednesday. And that's what I did. I actually finished my hour. Um, I finished my hour about 30 minutes before the class had started. So everything I did after or during class, actually, it was all just extra topics, extra credits.
Nice.
So no, I think that's what I'm gonna start doing now. So probably Sunday tomorrow, I'll sink in about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. I'll do about 2 hours on Monday, do about an hour Tuesday, or if I feel like it, maybe I'll put in the 2 hours on Tuesday, and then Wednesday is just extra topics.
Or what you could do is after Wednesday's class, do 2 hours on Thursday, 2 hours on Friday, 2 hours on Saturday, and then 1 hour on Sunday. And
Well,
then
no,
you
no, no.
have,
You see, the timer expires right at midnight Saturday going into Sunday. So no, you have to get 7 hours in before 11:59 p.m. Saturday night. So that's why I figured, do about two or 3 hours on a Sunday, 2 hours on a Monday, 1 hour on Tuesday, or just say screw it and do 2 hours anyway, or do an hour and a half. That way, that leaves me with about 30 minutes, and then just do the rest on Wednesday.
so I have a question. Could you leave the application up for the 7 hours and not do jack shit?
So wait, are you saying like say if I'm doing a math problem, could I just like tap like click start and walk away from the computer and not touch it?
Yeah.
There's actually there no theoretically you
Or
can,
is
but
there like a timer per question or per topic?
so what happens is this: if you are idle for, I want to say it's either 10 or 15 minutes. If you're idle for 10 or 15 minutes, the program logs you off automatically for inactivity. So yeah, so theoretically, if somebody wanted to be a wise guy and be like, "Well, I hit my 20 hours, I'll just leave it on here for 5 hours and walk away." That's not going to happen. You actually have to actually do something in order to achieve the 7 hours.
Or what you could do is uh, click on something like every 9 minutes and then do that for 7 hours, and then do the 20 topics after that, and like, well, bada bing, bada boom, you
Oh
know?
God, yeah, yeah. Talk about the dirtiest way. Oh, good Lord, jeez.
I lie,
Actually,
I cheat, I steal, I lie, I cheat, I steal.
oh God. Well, no, actually, you know what's really sad? Actually, I forgot who said this. I don't know if it was the tutor or if it was the teacher. I think the teacher said it. I think it was the teacher that said it. But she said literally she had someone, or a few times this had happened, where some student had taken her class and they would literally would just do a topic a day and not even hit the 7 hours, or they would do a topic a week. And it's like, wow, what is going on with that person? There is no motivation in that guy or girl.
That's sad.
You know, that is sad. It's like, you know, you paid hundreds of dollars for a class, plus an additional maybe 100 or 2 on books or the CD, tuition, whatever the case may be. And all you do is just a topic a day or a topic a week, and you don't put in the effort to at least try. I mean, then what was the point? You wasted all that money to what? Fail?
That sucks major.
Oh, it does. It totally does. Like I know you've been through this as well, and I've been through this as well. Like I've been in classes where, you know, I would know someone, or I would see somebody familiar, and all of a sudden, like in a month, they're gone from the class, and it's like, what happened? Um, I can remember back in 2008 when I was the newcomer in college. I was in my writing class, and I remember this woman. She had looked to be, I want to say, like in her late 40s. She looked about late 40s. And I remember there was the expression on her face. I know she was probably not a fan of the teacher at the time, and I won't mention his name as always, but he did came off as an asshole. But I actually ended up loving him because he actually cared about what was going on, you know, the students and whatnot. I remember him making this speech, and I remember him saying that a lot of college professor in colleges, for the most part, not all of them, but most of them, they care about the money and they don't care about teaching the student or teaching the right formula to the student to help better themselves. With me, I'm not like that. Yes, I have came off as an asshole, but you know what? The bottom line is I've always gave a damn. I give a damn about you guys because I want to see you guys succeed. I want to see you guys complete 095 and go into 96, 101, 102. And I would love to see you guys achieve the goal in life and whatever it is that you're going to achieve. And if you guys want to have me again for the next writing class, I'd be more than happy to teach you again. And if I don't see you again, all I will say is I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I hope we cross paths one day. And when he said that, I had a lot of respect for him. And you know, I one of my big regrets is that I wish I would have kept going back to school every single semester, every single year, whatever. Because if I could have alternate time, I would have gone back in the spring semester and I would have totally had him for 101. I would have easily had him again. Even though, yes, he did came off as an a-hole at times, but you know what? He gave that tough love. Yes, he was a tough teacher, but you know what? He gave a damn. And that is what I respect about him.
True.
But,
On top of that, with people who say stuff like that, it should motivate people to come back again.
oh, it should. It
Grant,
absolutely should.
Granted, I've been trying to motivate your ass for the past 6 freaking long years to get back in school.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. Well, actually, I'm glad that you went back to school when you did, because you'd rather not go back to school, you know, and worry about a lot of shit. Like the what if situation, like the what if scenarios that you always have going in to school. Says, what if this, what if that, and then I'm like, oh my god, you know, you'd rather do school on your own terms at your own pace, and if you have to take like a few years off, fine, go for it. But it should not hinder you from succeeding and furthering yourself into a better career or a better job. Granted, I should take my own advice and go back to school, but I'm a little bit hesitant going back because I failed. And if I fail one more time, then I am either expelled or I am on a permanent suspension from Loyola University. And that's something that I got to overcome, but I might end up taking that one class by itself and not have any other classes along with it. Considering that one of the classes I took, I had a C in it. And I'm actually glad that I passed a class at Loyola, a very hard institution. But a programming class, I think I may go back and take Python, and then after that, then take C sharp. I know I'm degrading it, but I'd rather learn it correctly and do it at my own pace and adding more computer languages underneath my belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, as long as you go back to school and you can achieve the goal that you want to achieve, and if you've got the drive, if you've got the motivation to do it, then do it.
There's only one problem: money.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? I mean, with great sacrifice comes great reward.
True. True. Very much true.
Before we wrap things up here, I do want to say one thing here before we wrap things up. Uh, Steve Harvey, we all know who Steve Harvey is. Uh,
Yeah.
he's the current host of Family Feud, and he has that one other show that's in Chicago. Um, after I don't know if it's every Family Feud, but he usually gives like a lecture to the audience in the crowd. And I was actually watching this a couple days ago, but the lecture was about jump. It was basically about life, where you're on a cliff and you're seeing all of these people soaring in the skies. They've achieved their goals, they've achieved what they wanted to achieve in life. And he said, now you could stand on that cliff, you could play it safe, you could stand on that cliff and nothing will happen, but you will still go to that same job you've been working at, and probably every time you go back, you're probably going to start hating it more and more and more, because all you're doing is you're standing on that cliff and you're not jumping. So why not jump? Jump. Just jump once. And after you jump, yes, you're going to hit the rocks. Yes, you're going to probably going to start to bleed. Yes, you're probably going to have a few cracked bones, maybe some sprains and whatnot. But that parachute you have on your back, it's not going to spring open just yet, but it will spring open, and that parachute of success will glide you to success. So jump for once in your life. Jump. And when he said that, I was like, wow, that's pretty inspirational. And I feel like I've jumped. And yes, and as he said, yes, you know what? When you jump and you're falling, you're gonna hit the rocks, but yes, you're gonna have to pay those bills. You're gonna have to pay those car payments. You're gonna have to pay the insurance and whatnot. But just jump once in your life, and when you do, it's gonna be the greatest thing you've ever done.
Well, speaking of success, there's one news that I don't think I ever told you, or if I did. But if I did, sorry for the repeat, but here I go. I built myself a PC.
Yeah, you showed me the picture on that.
Yeah, and that's a greatest accomplishment, building your own PC from ground up. Not a lot of people do that.
No, and actually, I want to add something to the jump topic. So, when we think of jump, when I thought of jump, achieving your goal, achieving the career job you want to be in. Here's another jump example: traveling. You know, I'm gonna give him a shout out here. I'll just mention his first name here to my buddy Luke if he's listening to this. He jumped and he's gone all over the world. It feels like he's been to Hawaii several times. He's been to California a
Been to
few
Hawaii.
times.
Been to California.
Uh, like oh my God, this past summer, like he went 1 month. He went to if I'm pronouncing the country right, Lithuania, which is right next to Poland. He went
Close enough,
to
yeah.
he went to the Middle East. He went to Jordan. He went to that oh my God, I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's in Jordan. He went to Spain. Like oh my, he last not last year, was the year before. He went to Iceland. And I'm just like, "Oh my God, this is just absolutely beautiful." And yes,
Hey, why don't you go with him to your traveling adventures?
yeah, I have to talk with him about it and see what we can do. But no, like I can look at my buddy named Luke and I can say he made the jump. Yes, he had to cough out a lot of money, I'm sure. But I'm sure at the end of the day, he's probably said to himself, that $1,000, that 1,500, that $2,000 that I spent for that 1 week in Ireland or Iceland, or that 3,000, 4,000 that I spent on that whole month out of the country, going to Lithuania, going to Spain, going to Jordan, going to the Middle East, going to all those places. Yeah, it cost me $4,000. Yes, it did took a nice little blow in my bank account, but damn man, that was so worth it. I bet that's what he said. I would bet my life that's what he would say. And I'll say this for the record, when the time comes that I do go to Poland, yes, it's probably gonna cost me 1,000, may cost me 1,500, may even cost me $2,000 bucks. But at the end, when I make that jump, I know I'm going to say that was worth it. That was so worth it.
When that day happens, I'm gonna be telling you, congratulations, you made
Thank,
the jump.
thank you very much. And that here wraps up this
And
episode.
and on top of that, I have $1 million question.
What's that?
Would you ever be willing to do an international podcast one of these days?
Like you coming with me or like you on the phone with me?
Like do it on the phone, or on some kind of platform that we don't have to waste up minutes, kind of deal,
Like
or
Skype?
data. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, if it's possible, if we can do it, I mean, sure, I'd be more than happy to do an international call and kind of give like almost like a blog update on what's going on. Now, although like let's say if I'm in Poland, there's obviously a huge time difference. Like right now it's close to 7 a.m. there. So if you wanted me to wake up like at 7 when it's like 10 or 11 o'clock here, I mean, I guess that could work, or maybe on an off day where it would be a little bit more flexible.
True. Like, what time do you normally wake up on most days?
Like 8 o'clock.
So then I would have to wait up until like 1 or midnight or whatnot to do that podcast international.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, when that time ever does come, we'll definitely have to talk about it. It will definitely be a show long podcast. It'll be a one topic podcast, definitely.
Which I think that one topic podcast could lead into an hour conversation.
Oh, easily. Very, very easily. And obviously, for that said podcast, it would have to be either the day before I leave or 2 days before I leave.
I would say 2 days, because you would rather, because you would want to rest before coming back to the States, kind of deal.
Right. And if there was anything else that had happened, then I could just cover the few loose ends on the next show.
Correct.
But if that is all there is to it, I want to thank everyone here for tuning in and listening. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, please hit that subscribe, hit that notification, and you can follow me at the Twitter, Sonic Mix, Twitter.com, and of course my buddy here, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, Triple Trinity 06, Zoldan here.
And we'll be leaving links and whatnot, and of course the time descriptions, how I usually do it, if people want to listen to a specific topic and whatnot. But until then, I am Matthew Sonic Mix alongside my guests,
Tony, and yes, I'm glad always to be here with you, speaking of all the topics that we talk about.
It is always an adventure, my good friend. Until then, everybody, have yourself a good night, good morning, good afternoon, however you're listening this to, wherever you're listening to this in this world, and we will see you next time on the next episode.
And have yourself a great night or a great day.
Have a good night, everyone.